Welcome to the Vape Success Series brought to you by ejuices.co. The Vape Success Series videos provide valuable information and content geared specifically for vape shop owners and distributors. Today, we're excited to have Dwayne Morrison of Liquid EFX. Welcome, Dwayne.
How's it going, Sharon? Everybody out there watching?
Thank you so much for being here and for taking this time out to speak to the audience about Liquid EFX. We're going to jump right on in, and for those who may not know, give us some history about how Liquid EFX came to be, its inception, what got it going.
All right, so we launched a few years back. Our first big show, I think, was the 2015, I believe it was like springtime ECC. We'd done things a few months before that. So we've been around a few years. How I got into the industry was a combination of a couple things. One, I was doing chemical blending for another industry, animal health business for wound care products. And we had some guys buy propylene glycol from us. And that's a business I ran. And I was like, wait, what are these guys buying these drums of propylene glycol for? Because they don't seem like dairy or horse owner guys. Like, and then I found out, they told us, I was like, oh, it's for vape, all this, that, the other. And I had family history of smoking in my history of losing both my grandmothers, one that raised me like a mom. So like I had a combination of things. One sparked my interest here in this customer. And then I was like, whoa, wait, I started reading about it. I didn't even know about it, honestly, a few years ago when we started researching. And then researched about it for about 6 months. Coming from that industry, I understood about how important, clean laboratories, all that kind of thing is. And so it's been about 6 months kind of researching the whole thing, getting it into play to launch the company. And that's kind of how it all started out.
Wow. That's such a testimony for so many people who have tried to kick the cigarette habit themselves or know of a loved one who did. And then it turns into this fabulous industry for them.
Yeah, no, it definitely gives me more of a passion about it because, like I said, both grandmothers I was close with, but the one did raise me like my own mom, so it was definitely a tough time when that happened. Must have been like 9 years ago or something. So
wow,
it's been kind of cool. So besides it being a fun business with all the social aspect, it is pretty cool at the core. Or not pretty cool, really cool at the core that you are helping out people a lot. You can literally save lives, and it's an enjoyable industry too. So it's kind of a win-win all around.
Yes. So when Liquid EFX launched, what was its first product that put you on the map?
First one that put us on the map was definitely, at that time, cereals were just kind of starting, like Fruit Loop stuff and all that. We launched a Lucky Charm. It would have been in smaller 30 ml. Nobody had done that at the time.
Wow.
And even now, years later, we still consistently sell this product all the time. And we have so many people that this is just always their go-to. A lot of people always like the hottest new thing, but this always still sells. And I got some new stuff we can talk about later too that involves that, which is pretty cool.
Wonderful. Now, how did the nic levels come to be? Did you start at a higher nic level, or did you open with 0 nic? And how did that come to be?
Yeah, that was just let's see. We started off with it was 5 nic levels at the beginning. We had 0, 3, 6, 12. And 18, because when we were first getting going, the hardware, like I got a mod like this now, tanks, everything, technology's better. You have people on the way, higher nicotine to get out of the free base. And now we pretty much, all of our regular lines are all now just in 0, 3, and 6. We just finally even did away with the 12s not that long ago. But then, of course, the salt nicotine's making an emergence, such as the high nicotine, too.
Right. And we can talk about that later on how some of your products are responding to that surge in the industry right now and what you guys are positioning yourselves to do. But let's talk about some of the flavor names and the flavors. Give me a couple. You gave me the start, but do you have something that's coming out that we can look forward to? Can you talk about it?
Oh yeah, so I got a combination of things. One, we have it just dropped literally like a day or two before St. Patrick's Day. So right around the middle of March, where we took another popular flavor. Ours was fried cream cakes, that people might recognize this, that was out the last couple years.
Mm-hmm.
What we did is combine them, and we made this Lucky Charm fried cream cakes, which been flipping out about. Like we've been, when we launched this about, from this taping this video like 2 weeks prior, it's hard to get that many pre-orders this day. We sold out of our whole inventory of the first run in 2 days, most everything on pre-order. So
2 days.
Yeah, so, and the reviews, and I know that can also be hype, people can say, but you know, now that we've seen it trickle out and you're seeing on social media and reviews and everything, I haven't seen a bad review on it. Everybody's just like, wow, this is amazing. This is the best juice you guys ever made. And both those two flavors are complex. We had to swap a couple agents to make it taste right. But just to give you an idea how complex this formula was for this, there's 32, you know, guys out there know about making juice, or ladies, there's 32 flavor agents in this juice, which is just crazy. It's like layers and layers and layers of depth to it. It's really good. I love it.
Wow. Now let's talk about that, about how you bring those flavors together. What is your motivation for bringing out new flavors? Do you test the marketplace? Do you have consumers that you focus on and provide focus group information? How do you bring about what you need to launch a new flavor?
Yeah, we've kind of done both over time, but we've leaned to trying to do flavors that aren't common out there and necessarily anywhere in the market yet, like, but they kind of could fall a little bit in the wavelength. Like for instance, when we started in the industry, we launched that Lucky Charm cereal. There wasn't a Lucky Charm out, but there was cereal vapes that were getting popular. We did the fried cream cakes I just talked about. That was non-existent anywhere. Now you see different options of them, but everybody always says we're the go-to with it. So we've tried the other way too, where you look at what's hot in the market, like, oh, custards are hot right now, and then we look at like launch it, we're like, man, everybody's already doing that. So some of our flavors seem like they have a lot of things going. People be like, whoa, that has like that many layers in it. That's crazy, but nobody has anything like it. So the loyal customers that we deal with all the time, they're always like, man, you guys just put out fire. Everything you guys release is always really good. So we put a lot of time and effort and thought into it. And it really is just kind of tinkering. Like I'm probably every week trying about 10, 15 different flavors. And some of the stuff sounds wacko that I'm trying. Like, I mean, I tried like lime, cucumber, pomegranate the other day, which tasted awful. And then I've had some other different cake options in the background that are amazing. So I'm just trying everything that's out there that, you know, these aren't things to bring to the market, but in the background, we're always testing and just trying to look for something unique, you know, if that makes sense.
Yes. And that keeps you the leader in the marketplace. And I'm sure your consumer base appreciates that.
Yeah.
Can you sell me, Dwayne, on one of your flavors that is not as popular as others, but people are missing out on this? Is there one of those flavors?
You know what? If I was going to do that now, I would say this flavor wasn't as popular till about the last month, because we've had it out for 5 months now. All of a sudden, it started to catch traction with people recognizing it. Is this Blue Bizarre cheesecake and blue gummy bear. People think it sounds crazy because it's got cheesecake with blue raspberry, and they're like, well, that's like kind of a lot of stuff. And then people try it and they're like, man, that's amazing. Then on the menthol side in that family, it's a menthol blue ras gummy. And these two, it didn't seem like that many people knew they're really out there. Like, I don't know if because we came kind of crazy with the packaging and we were the first ones I saw that ordered custom bottle caps to match like a gnome look on our bottles.
Super cool.
Yeah, people thought maybe it was crazy, but now it's all of a sudden catching on the last month. But I don't think a lot of people, I'm starting to see this pop up a lot on social media from feeds. Everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize it was out there. But this one, the Blue Bizarre line, is really good to give a try if you weren't aware that it is out there. It's in 100 mLs.
Wonderful.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you the one other one I had coming because you were asking me new stuff.
Yes, let's talk.
So this Fruit Frenzy line, this looks like it's a fit up with e-juice up there in the Las Vegas market. You see the slot machine reels rolling. And this, again, this goes to things that people don't all have out there. Like, for instance, I don't know of a real plum vape out there. I got one of the flavors of juicy plum, wild berry, and got some watermelon. This middle one I'm holding is mostly a white grape mixed with tangerine. Ooh. But it is really good. And that's my favorite one in the lineup, but everybody's got a different. And then got a secret ingredient with the wild apple strawberry on the end. But this is going to be dropping out probably by the time you know, depending on when everybody starts seeing this video out there in the next week or so.
So is this an exclusive?
Yeah, this is the first time I announced it's coming.
Woo! That is great. Because we know that vape shop owners and distributors as well are always looking for that next leg up. They want to have that product that no one else has that they can service their customers with. So that's great.
Yeah, it'll pop off the shelf. I had to search around. I haven't seen anybody with this crazy foil, and we had to custom get. You see, it looks like it's moving on the reels. It's pretty crazy.
That is super sexy.
So shop owners will like that on the shelf for sure. So.
Right. You want to grab that attention, and that is awesome. How much do you put into building not only the flavors but the packaging? Like you're giving shop owners the full deal so that they don't have to sell it so much themselves, that the packaging and the reputation does. What goes into all of that thought process behind it?
We probably take longer than I know. I know everybody says it's a fast moving industry. So I don't think it's right or wrong how people do it, just how we do it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Flavor launch for us takes usually between about a 2.5 to 4 month range, depending on what we're coming up with. Because once we determine on a flavor, we just beta test it like crazy. And then the packaging, we just spend a lot of time to try to think what's going to convey the flavor, the look. And then I've got some, besides just our own internal group for testing, I have a couple local shops just from being in the industry a long time that they always love when I come through, because I say, okay, I'm down to my finals. Let's do some group testing and all that. And then see what think. I even got good relationships with some of my shop owners where, I'll show them in confidence, because it isn't everybody copy everybody industry. We're coming out with new things, but a couple of these guys I'm really cool with, and I'll show them like, hey, what do you think would sell better on your shop shelf when you're looking at it? So I'll have my opinion, but I always value big time the shop owners on the other side. At the end of the day, we want it selling in your shop and you're happy it's there. So that's kind of the gist of how we kind of put it together. And like I said, on one flavor, like for instance, that if I just took this one coming out, this white grape tangerine is coming. I think we were finally on probably about version like 22 or 23 of that when we finally figured out which was our final flavor. So and that's after we're narrowing it down. So we do spend a lot of time trying to chisel on that unique profile that the customers are going to appreciate in your shop.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell me about the theme. Is there a theme to Liquid EFX, or what is the mission that drives the flavors and the product that you guys put out? Does it start from a certain theme?
I would just say if you thought about it from a customer standpoint, you would say that we're really thoughtfully crafted. And when people, and we have a real passion for it too, like the stuff we release isn't in the main trend line of what you see out there, which there's nothing wrong with that, because I have a lot of friends in the industry and some of them make amazing flavors that are right on the trend when it's at. And I know that's just kind of our way of thinking. And I just think people really appreciate at the end of the day, because it's bringing them something different that they can, love and be excited about. Because that's what I get from a lot of shop owners are like, oh, Liquid EFX, what are you guys coming up with this time that's coming in? And it gets a lot of people excited at the shops when it comes their way that we have something new coming through.
Cool. That's great. You have been watching the Vape Success Series, and we're here with Dwayne Morrison of Liquid EFX. Hello, Dwayne. And we're just going to jump back in on some questions about why should vape shops have a relationship with Liquid EFX? Sell me on the vape shops. Why should we put your stuff on the shelves?
I'll give you a top to bottom, looking at, on your side of the table. So obviously flavor, you want to be good. And I think we're covering that early in here, that we try to come up with some off the wall custom stuff that's going to have your customers really excited when it's coming in. Again, working with you guys, the packaging, the look will be on point. And then also, I know a big thing when I talk to a lot of shop owners, sometimes the communication, the shipping, those aspects aren't always the best. Just because there's so many companies out there. I mean, if you go on ejuice.co, pretty much all of our products have a 1-day ship ratio coming out to you. If stuff gets in to us by noon, more than likely it's going out that same day. Later, it's going out the next day. We make sure to stay at good stock, stay ahead of our inventory and sales reports, so that you guys aren't calling saying, oh, we're out of this. We'll be like, oh, it'll be there next month. We're just,
right.
yeah, we stay really on top of it. And, you know, everybody is human. I would say our orders ship incredibly accurate. We hear this from different vendors, or I would say it's rare for us to have an error on them, but when we do, we instantly hop on it. You know, we are human. Anybody, if it doesn't make an error in any way, we always own up to it, hop on it quick and make it right. So I know that's another thing. We're always here for you and appreciate the business. So, you know, we want to be in a long-term, you know, partnership with our customers out there with Liquid EFX.
Right. I think that's important because vape shop owners, they can't sell product that they don't have.
Yeah.
So when they know they can get it quickly and they have a strong company standing behind it, that makes all the difference in the world. So that's great.
Yeah,
I
got my love e-juices and I love my wholesale customers.
Ah!
Guys.
We love Liquid EFX, and you know, it's these series like this that helps vape shop owners distinguish what their customers really want and from good, reputable companies. So we thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
What are some of the most common objections that you hear about the product that you can talk about, and how you overcome those objections?
Most common, I mean, this industry is so competitive that you'll hear people say like, oh, well, that's like $1 or $2 higher than another bottle we have. And we're not even priced on the top of that chart, but you guys all know how it is out there. I understand from your side of the table that it is a tough market, you know, to squeeze a buck out of sometimes, but you know, we're not the dead cheapest out there, but for all we put into our flavor and how much I know, you know, costs us per bottle putting in, you know, we're right in the middle of the pack as far as price, but I guarantee you the quality is 100% at the top that you're going to get in there that's coming in. And at the end of the day, if at your shop, you know, you only have like cheap offerings is the wrong word, but you know, not a lot of quality juice options, customers stop coming back because the shop around the corner has so-and-so's flavor. And I promise our flavors will keep customers coming back. We hear that a lot from shops. We have so many shops that have just ordered for us for multiple years now because their customers just like our, you know, our line. And you know, promise that'll be the case bringing this in.
And what are your sizes? Is everything at the 100 ml? I know you showed us the 100 ml bottle, but
yeah, we got a mix. So I got 60s and 100s, and kind of how we've determined to do that is there's certain flavors like let's say more like the fruit or lighter lines, I feel like will yield easier that you can go through 100 ml. And again, I do understand that people want the value. Some are more delicate, you know, super rich, more dessert flavors like the fried cream cakes. The Lucky Charm fried cream cakes is pretty rich. It costs a lot making that bottle as well, but 60 mLs we kind of figure is the right amount on it that people have gotten used to. Plus that is crossing branding of two existing flavors we had a long time, so we want to kind of keep the look of it.
Right.
A lot of new stuff, like for instance, this one, because they are all fruits, I'm going to do these all in 100 mLs. They're going to be out here shortly, so kind of a mix, 100s and 60s.
Wonderful. And for the vape shop owners, how do you assist them in marketing your product to their customers?
Well, we stay pretty heavily on, you know, one of the easiest ways in this market is social media, obviously. So, anytime we have new flavors coming out and even our old flavors, we don't stop marketing them through online. Social media is a big platform for us between Instagram, Facebook, and just keep it in the hands of people. At the end of the day, you know, people have a lot of eyeballs on them, and advertising helps you guys see it. Magazine ads, online placements, email blasts, just to keep eyeballs on the product, because it is such a competitive market that even if our juice is great, people need to know it's out there. So we continue to market our new and our old products alike. So we'll help support you on that end of things for certain.
Cool. Now let's switch gears a little bit and tell me about your products that you would recommend for the beginning vapor and for the more seasoned vapor. What if you're just coming into the vape world, which one of your products is going to resonate?
So I'd say if you're just starting to vape at the very beginning, more simple things that you would know would probably be a little bit easier. Like, let's say like if you're like a person that likes delicate or dessert type of things, our fried cream cakes is actually pretty neutral, but even though seasoned vapors like it a lot because it's not too adverse either way. You know, one of the products, like I mentioned, the Bizarre Blue, that's got a lot of kind of unique flavor profiles, which might be like someone's first vape and they're like, whoa, I don't know if I do or don't like this. But it seems like the seasoned vapors really like it because they say like, well, that's different. I haven't tried that anywhere. So I would say like the more easy, straightforward flavors, like for instance, like I got that grape tangerine fruit frenzy coming out, you're going to be able to identify what it is easy versus something with just tons and tons of stuff going on. But you know, it's such just its flavor profile though, because I don't think, you know, necessarily that matters either. If someone says they know I like dessert or I know I like fruit, they're probably going to lean more into whatever it is you have out there as long as it's good, you know.
Right, right. And it's good to know that you have profiles that can build with the person's flavors. Once they want something a little bit more complex, a little bit more layered, that you can accommodate them, or you can accommodate the person who may want to start a little slower.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. You are watching the Vape Success Series brought to you by ejuices.co. And today we have Dwayne Morrison of Liquid EFX. Thank you, Dwayne, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about any awards or special recognitions that the line has received. Do you?
We've had a couple of different shows we've gone to where we've had like our Lucky Charms being voted in the cereal category. Our fried cream cakes in the EU has really struck a popular chord out there and won some dessert stuff. And those have been our two main flavors that have been out for recognition, you know, different events and such. I would say those two. And it's another reason why we've combined those two flavors to make that Lucky Charm fried cream.
It's genius.
Yeah, and those we're known for those. So I have a good optimistic feeling that those are going to get some recognition as well, that new flavor, based on the reviews I'm seeing coming in on it. So we'll see though.
That's cool. So let's talk about how the industry has changed since you guys first got into it and to now, where we're looking at FDA regulations coming forward and advocacy. Where do you guys stand on that? How do you relate to your facilities and the cleanliness of them and the sterilization? Talk about the process of how Liquid EFX is ready for that wave that's soon to come.
Yeah, so obviously when it first started back in the day, like you were talking about, there wasn't all this talk of regulation, and it was kind of a fun Wild West in a sense. I knew this was a product going in, you know, not ingestion wise, but being inhaled, same idea. Like you wouldn't feed people something if it's coming out somewhere dirty, nor would I want to produce a vape product they're going to inhale in their lungs. It's not, you know, made in a controlled environment. And that goes back to my previous industry in the animal health side. So I already from the started out in a ISO lab when we first started out, where I was doing my packaging and, you know, clean room, and I've kept, you know, with same till today. Everything's produced in the clean room, top source materials that we can find. We don't look to buy discount stuff that's not up to the optimal quality. Now the new trend is it is hard to stay on top of all these FDA rules, you know, like on the packaging, like, you know, you're even seeing, like I saw this packaging that's coming in fall where like 30% of the face has to have the warning on it. So we're already just getting out there with that now. We just don't want to deal with the hassle in fall time.
Right.
Stuff, you know, in fall, getting your TP1 numbers, and then, you know, anything coming out, you got to do the PMTA, intent to files. That stuff definitely isn't as fun to have to do all that as it was in the beginning. But, you know, loving the industry and being in it, I mean, we got to, you know, play by the rules that are being dealt to us. But at the same time, you do want to constantly be leaning on the advocacy stuff. Like even some of those simple things, we'll all get them in our email boxes where it's like, oh, fill out this email. It takes 2 minutes, send it in. That stuff does matter, because I've dealt with, you know, from flying up to Sacramento to go to some of these meetings to see how they are when you show up. Even though I'm not the biggest like political insert yourself guy, it is, you know, passionate about the industry and want it to be around. So it's interesting seeing that process on the side of the guys that are really big time entrenched in, the guys that are up there all the time in these political areas. And it's important to support them too, all you can, because I just hate to see this industry go anywhere. And as long as we're compliant, showing best effort, I have a confidence that it's going to stay around.
Absolutely. That's great. So Dwayne, tell me about some of the biggest challenges you face as a manufacturer. What do you wish, what are the challenges and what do you wish someone would solve to make that an easier road?
I would say one of the biggest challenges now is that different things that are kind of looming from the FDA, because while they are kind of given a roadmap of, oh, this is due by this date, such as the the warning label I'd mentioned, and even this, for instance, like we hopped on top of this saying it's going to be in fall, and now there's some murmurs that they're even going to possibly change
Oh
what is
gosh.
entailed with this. So I just wish there was actually a real clear roadmap that someone could figure out from the FDA, because the problem is they'll put out one thing, it'll slightly change. It's good when they do roll back something that they push in. A lot of that comes from the advocacy guys. I wish you had have a clear map going into it, because if they change something, it is expensive to go back in, change your packaging or do different testing.
Right.
And, all those things, make it harder to operate business and focus on the thing you want to do, make good juice. And that factors into the price of juice too, the more it costs to deal with regulation. It hasn't gotten extreme at this point, but, there are some indications that things are going to be costing more and more down the road for juice manufacturers. So I wish there was more of a clear roadmap of what is really concrete that's coming from them, but that doesn't seem to be there yet.
Oh wow. I think that's what goes back to what you were saying about advocacy and participating where you can, because those voices can be heard by that industry, and hopefully they can start to level that out some, because for those companies that may not be as healthy, or they're really a much smaller company and they're really trying to get going, a package change can be everything that stops their company right in its tracks. So hopefully that will change. But while we're talking about other e-liquid companies and their plights, are there e-liquid companies out there that you like, that you admire, that you give a thumbs up to?
Yeah, I would say a few off the top of my head. Like I like the guys that do Cut Rope, which is a tobacco line. A lot of these are personality / business, and I like their flavors and the same idea where they come out unique in their own style. They're out of Canada, but they sell through the US and global. Right Vapes, that's over here in SoCal. A lot of people know them for like their VCE tobacco, and same thing. They're originators coming out with that, and they've stuck to a lot of their good company principles. I've split up doing trade shows with the guys over there before, back in the day. We kind of do our own booth predominantly now, but it's kind of fun remembering those times. And and there's even some ones too that are standouts. Like I get along pretty well with Buckshot. There's Cam over there, and that's a totally different looking product than a lot of people have, and they put out unique flavors. And it's just different personalities in the industry, but people you get along with and you admire the same idea. A lot of them are coming out with their own original look and thing versus being just typical like a copycat or something like that of stuff out there. I think the originality is really cool, almost like a clothing industry or something like that, or wine, or just how these are crafted.
That is so true. So that made me think about where there may be some similarities, where there are companies like yours that has the complex and the unique flavor profiles. But talk to me about this mixed salt trend. What happened? It just exploded all of a sudden. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. I think it has to do with convenience. Like it's like almost it's gone from like small devices to big, then back to small.
Right.
I still personally like. I mean, I've tested them all different ways. I mean, I'm testing a Nick Salt. Right now it's in my pocket that we're looking for launch. So we're gonna have our salt line coming out here pretty shortly as well. So there's another first announcement for you.
Wow! Yay!
Yeah, some of them are gonna be in there. Like we got the probably my favorite flavor is actually gonna be this white grape tangerine that's gonna be in that line as well.
That sounds delish.
I think it's just as convenience, and the whole idea is getting new smokers over. So it's a little bit easier, I think, to get the fix of cigarettes. They don't want to deal with the mods and all that. Again, I still love the taste of more like the freebase juice better, but I understand the convenience side of it. You're in those devices, and you know, with the hardware coming kind of dictates the market a little bit too. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine that deals a lot out in China, distribution guy I work with, and he was saying, he's like, oh, Dwayne, you better start hopping on the nicotine salts. He's like, dude, so much of the hardware coming is like intended for salt devices. So,
Wow.
you know, I knew it was coming down the pipeline. Like I said, it takes us a while to research, you know, different things. Like my lab guy, we've tested tons of different sources of salt that you can bring in, and I noticed that's a big difference too. Like some of the market's so competitive that you can get a little bit, you know, cheaper price stuff, but I noticed the flavor drop off was, you know, a lot more harsh when it was hitting it and that kind of thing. And so if we finally homed in on the supplier that we're going to use for that, or we are paying a decent amount more than probably a lot of people are necessarily going with, but I think it kind of keeps the whole root of what we like to do with Liquid EFX, where the flavors, you know, still really popping big time on it. I don't want to launch a, you know, subpar salt line either. So
Right, and that's so. How do you pivot when all of a sudden this surge comes onto the marketplace, and you do want to be on the forefront of that, but you don't want to sacrifice your testing and your research on the line? How do you reconcile the two?
I know, like I said, I wish we moved faster on flavors sometimes, because and didn't overthink them as much as we do, because you want to hit while the market's hot in there. Like we started marketing on our salt flavors literally about 5 or 6 months ago. Just the first 2-3 months, though, was before getting flavor profiles dialed in for this release. It was trying to kind of test salt, understand how to work with it. And you know, it is a little different formulating. Like you can't just, you know, use the same type formulation you use for regular free base and be like, oh, I'm just buying Nick salt and just mix. There are some
Right.
to it. So, and my lab guy has studied that like crazy. We're going, so, you know, so that's the whole thing. There's just not a choice. I think if the market, there's a demand for it, and the whole idea is to get people to stop smoking, you know, want to offer both. And like I said, I see for the convenience for it too. Like I'll be on the go, and while I do prefer like my mod, my, you know, more free base nicotine, you could call it, or juice, I do see the convenience when you're just on the run and just have like a little, you know, little pod in your pocket. It is easy, you know.
Got it.
Out and about. So it's just, I think they'll probably coexist together. You'll probably just continue to see both. I don't know how much more of the market share the Nick salt will take. I don't know if it's necessarily taking market share. You guys would probably know the numbers over there better, if it's just bringing on new smokers, you know, so that weren't willing to try it before because they didn't want to go buy some big mod or something like that. You know?
Right. But will you also be able to maintain the complexities of your flavors with those Nick salts, or will you have to have a lesser complex flavor like the grapefruit?
Yeah. No, that's been the tricky thing, because there's some flavors we've noticed where I've wanted to launch them out of regular lines that we have in a Nick salt, and for whatever reason, just when you vape it, even if you keep spiking the flavor percentage higher, it just doesn't translate as well into the salt. So that was like part of the learning curve of that. Then there's certain flavor agents that we learned that we can kind of work in there that we can make work. So a lot of it's kind of changing formula, figuring out which flavors seem to work better with it. You know, that type of thing. So it's just a learning curve, and there's not like an exact cheat book to it because it's a new product.
Exactly.
So it's like a lot of trial and error internal. But like, again, I'd rather do extra trial internally than put it into the market and it fails or puts a blemish on us as being known as launching good product and quality and rushing something out. So
right.
I would say we're probably we're about a month or so from ours being into market. We're just finalizing some packaging and stuff. So
oh my gosh, so it'll be hitting the marketplace for spring. I mean, well, before summer.
Yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah, you'll be seeing the same type of smaller version but similar packaging as this for our Salt Frenzy line.
Oh, the packaging is so sexy. Is that a right word? That's what when I see it. It's like very sexy.
It's cool.
Well, while we were talking about the complexities and of the flavor profiles with Nick salts, but let's get back to basics on just the PG-VG ratio. How does that work in the Liquid EFX line overall?
We've gone a little bit of both over time. Like at the beginning, we had some flavors that were 60-40, and a lot had to do with like cloud production and taste and all that. got to 70-30. Then for a while, it seemed like everybody wanted a more dense cloud. You'd hear Max VG everywhere, stuff like that. We did a couple that were up there, Max VG, but we've just kind of settled on the nose pretty much on most all of our stuff that we like 70-30. Like we just think that just seems to, we can still sub-O and drip it, tank it. Seems to kind of please both sides, you know. Obviously, if someone's a real big Klaus chaser, they might really, no matter what, want a Max VG or something like that. But, you know, majority of the market we find seems to be pretty happy around that ratio because it just works for the tanks or the, you know, atomizers and all that. So
perfect. You know, sometimes we just got to get back to the basics and know that that formula works, and it allows you to hit all the points that you want to make. So when the vape shop owner is presenting it to their customers, it's easy to relay, and they understand it and they get it right away.
Yeah, I think that's easy. Just say, hey, it works perfect for tanks or on your dripper, and you'd be good either way, you know?
Perfect. You have been watching the Vape Success Series, and we're here today with Dwayne Morrison of Liquid EFX. Hey, Dwayne. We've been chatting about the industry and the product and how Liquid EFX is playing such a major role in the industry, and how vape shop owners and distributors alike can take advantage of not only great customer service, but a great product and a commitment to excellence. And these are the things that your customers in turn will look for. So in closing, Dwayne, let's talk about a piece of advice you would give to shop owners or distributors who are looking at the industry as a whole, and then what products to bring into their stores. You can't possibly carry everything on the shelves and whatnot. Tell our vape shop owners how they should make those selections.
Yeah, I would say I understand at the shops you need to keep a regular baseline of things that people, you know, do like you might have your base strawberry or, you know, base whatever it be, of just an apple or something. But I would say look at bringing in, you know, customized flavors read the flavor profiles. If they're well crafted, like we put a lot of time and thought into creating our flavors, I know, and the customers will be happy if you bring it in. I mean, a lot of our shop owners, if you're out there watching, that already do carry us, I mean, you know, our stuff sells in the shop.
Yes.
Those of you that don't, I promise it will sell when it's in there, and the customers will be happy you brought it in. Like we always get good feedback that they think the Liquid EFX line is fire when it comes in, and they're excited to have it in their shops. And, you know, we love our customers, and, you know, those that are buying from us, thank you already. Those that aren't, you know, bring us in and look forward to working with you, and, you know, promise to be one of your best loyal suppliers, and, you know, make you and your customers happy. You got us in there.
And I love, again, and I think it's worth mentioning again, the commitment that you guys put into bringing products to the market. You're not just rushing things out there for the sake of getting something out there. There's a quality control, there's a process that you guys utilize to make sure that your profiles are there, the complexity is there. And so with the new products coming out, let's remind everyone again about what you have coming out in the next month or so that they can look forward to.
Yeah, you got it. So you got this, that if you haven't seen it, just dropped, the Lucky Charm Fried Cream Cakes, and it has been flying off shelves everywhere that's been going. So, and the reviews have been awesome on this. Sounds like a lot going on with all the flavors I mentioned, but people are loving it. So I would say definitely try that. Then you're going to see shortly coming out our Fruit Frenzy line.
Woohoo!
All fruit line. You can kind of see on the boxes, it's just kind of like a little slot reel.
That is amazing.
Around, but line's great. They're all great flavors. Like I said, my favorite is the white grape tangerine, but, you know, it's hard to tell. It has a juicy plum in it. Nobody has that I really see out there in the market. And the strawberry apple is fire. So I'd say those are coming in. Also from the same look, we'll have our nicotine salt line, Salt Frenzy, you're going to be seeing out there as well. So
wow, there is a lot on deck. So as we move through the seasons, will flavor profiles change because of the seasons, or do you guys just stick to what you know your customer base love?
Yeah, I mean, we do see a little bit of a surge on different flavors a little bit through the season, but usually more so to what you said, Sharon, that's we put enough time and effort in, and we feel the flavors are solid. So, for instance, even our regular fried cream cakes that I talked about, that still sells for the summer. Now the numbers might fluctuate a little bit, but it still consistently sells. But you do try to like time the release of things a little bit to season, like the Fruit Frenzy line. That's why we're thinking that one's good coming out for spring.
Right.
And it's funny, we're usually known for the more dessert type flavor line. So this is our first all fruit line, which we haven't done yet, which I know is a very common, obviously, in the industry, but we haven't just launched a straight fruit line. So we've taken a lot of time to make sure it's all good stuff we're bringing to you guys for this. So
that is awesome. And we are so happy that you are giving us that scoop first here.
You got it.
I super love you for that. That is amazing.
Because you're awesome e-juices. We worked forever with you over there, and I'll tell you from the shop side, they're efficient about getting us over the orders right, and you guys get them in and gets right out to you. So the good thing is you load that ejuices.co page, you can see exactly how long the shippers are getting stuff out to you, and you'll see Liquid EFX usually on the front cover there quite a bit, and you'll see our shipment to you quick. So
that is so true. So please head over to ejuices.co, and we have the entire Liquid EFX line, and we have the dates, or excuse me, the days that the line will ship. And it's usually, like Dwayne said, if we get it at a certain time, we can usually get it out the same day. So the sooner you get it, the sooner you can profit. Dwayne, is there anything else you'd like to let our audience know before we close and let you get back to building profiles and
making juice? No, just thanks for the time. And if you got to this point in the video, appreciate you listening to it out, and bring us into the shop. We promise your customers, like I said, are going to be happy, and just excited to bring you good quality juice. So appreciate listening, and thank you for the customers that are listening that already carry us, and those that don't yet, that no one will bring it in or give it a try. Appreciate that ahead of time, and thank you guys out there.
Great. Thank you so much for taking this time with us, Dwayne. Dwayne Morrison from Liquid EFX. Please go on ejuices.co, where we have over 2,000 brands, and we'll love to service you and your clientele. Until next time, I'm Sharon. Thank you. Have a great day.